If you've ever left a church building with a lump in your throat and a weight in your chest, if you've ever been told your questions were rebellion, your truth was disobedience, that your voice was pride, if your anxiety got worse, the closer you got to Sunday, you're not crazy and you're not alone. This lesson is called Healing from Church Hurt, and it's one of the most necessary and most tender parts of this whole deconstruction journey because spiritual trauma is real. And let me say up front, I haven't figured this all out. I wasn't just someone hurt by the system, I helped run it. I was one of the pastors who enforced it. I preached the verses, I upheld the culture, and I warned people about backsliding, and I struggle with that a lot. I wrestle with what it did to my body, what it did to my relationships. And the truth is, looking back, a lot of what we were part of, it wasn't just church. It had all the markers of a high control group. Let's name it. Some of it was cult-like. And it's time to stop being afraid to say that out loud. Now let's be clear about something from the beginning. Not all hurt is trauma. But when it happens in a spiritual setting, when God's name is used to justify control, shame, or punishment, it hits in a way that very few things do. It gets into your nervous system. It rewrites your identity. It changes how you see the world. And we're not just talking about a sermon you didn't like or a pastor who forgot your name. We're talking about being manipulated through fear-based theology, being gaslit into thinking your intuition was rebellion, being told that your obedience mattered more than your mental health, being shunned for your sexuality or your doubts or your questions, being told to forgive while still in the room with your abuser, being programmed to believe leaving the group meant leaving God. That's just not church drama. That's trauma. That's control. That's cult behavior wrapped in a Bible verse, and it deserves to be named. One of the biggest lies we were told is that anger is a sin. But there's a reason Jesus flipped tables. There's a reason prophets cried out for justice. Anger's not evil. It's a sign that something sacred was violated. Ephesians 4:26 says, "Be angry and do not sin," which means anger itself is holy. What we do with it matters, but the feeling is a compass. So if you're angry at what was done in God's name, you're not backsliding, you're waking up. You're feeling what your soul wasn't allowed to feel before. You don't have to rush to forgiveness. You don't have to sanitize it. You can name the harm, and you can let your anger tell the truth. Some of us were taught that healing meant smiling more, letting it go, acting like it didn't hurt. But real healing, it's not a performance. It's crying in the car. It's setting boundaries. It's feeling disoriented when you start to reclaim your life. It's realizing that "I'm praying for you" feels like a threat now. Healing doesn't mean reconciliation. You can forgive someone and still never let them back into your life. You can love someone and never return to that church. You can honor your past and still walk away. Jesus said, "By their fruit you will know them, not by how many second chances you gave." One of the cruelest tricks of spiritual abuse is convincing you that you're the problem. They'll say, "You're bitter. You're being divisive. You let people come between you and God." But listen to me, you're not weak. You were loyal. You were sincere. You were committed. And when your soul started suffocating, you did the brave thing, you left. Florence Scovel Shinn said, "Every big accomplishment has been brought into manifestation through the holding to the vision. And often, just before the big achievement comes apparent failure and discouragement." So if it feels like you're falling apart, you're probably on the edge of something sacred. Now, this part is hard to say because a lot of us love the church. We built our lives around it. We gave our time, our money, and our hearts. And when it broke us, we just didn't lose a community. We lost a sense of self. And that's grief, and it's allowed. But here's the beautiful thing. Love is still real, even if it was misused. The universe, God, the eternal spirit is still real, even if their version was toxic. And you don't have to throw out connection just because it once became wrapped in control. You get to reimagine love, one that doesn't demand your silence or your submission. This process is not linear. You'll have good days and days when you hear an old worship song and burst into tears. Grief isn't weakness, it's a sacred release. You get to rebuild slowly. You get to reconnect with your intuition. You get to stop performing and start healing. And when you're ready, you get to discover that faith isn't gone, it's just evolving. Now here's the truth that I couldn't leave out because it's my story too. I wasn't just someone who was hurt, I was someone who enforced the system. I led, I taught, I said the words, I stood on the stage, and now I look back and realize that I helped uphold something that hurt people. And that honestly breaks me, but you know what? That grief, that gut punch guilt, that's also a path to healing. If you're feeling it too, hear this: you're not evil. You were trapped in a system that convinced you that this was righteousness. And now, you're awake. You're repenting in the truest sense, not groveling, but changing. You're doing the work, and that matters. Maya Angelou said, when you know better, you do better. So let's do better. Let's stop pretending we were just victims, and let's own our part and choose a new path. Now let's not leave out the body, because mine's still healing too. Some of us are just now realizing that anxiety we lived with for years, that wasn't normal. That chronic tension, the tight chest, the fear of being watched or judged, that was our nervous system being on constant alert. The Body Keeps the Score is a book that says trauma is not the story of something that happened back then. It's the current imprint of that pain on mind and body. This stuff lives in us, but it doesn't have to stay stuck. We begin healing when we move slowly and gently. We walk, we stretch, we breathe. We practice grounding, feet on the floor, hand over heart, saying, I'm safe now. Let those tears come. Let joy return without guilt. Listen to the body, not as a threat, but as a guide. Your body never betrayed you, it kept score, and now it's ready to exhale. You can't think your way out of trauma, but you can feel your way into healing. And healing the body isn't just practical, it's spiritual. You deserve to feel safe in your own skin, and you deserve to breathe again. Let these words walk with you. Your wound is probably not your fault, but your healing is your responsibility. God is not in the punishment, God is in the healing. And some churches broke us, but love still finds us. Take a breath. Ask yourself, what church experiences still live in my body or emotions? Have I tried to move on before I was ready? Where have I blamed myself for things I was taught to do or believe? What would forgiveness of myself look like without shame? And what does safety feel like to me now? Say this with me out loud if you can. Let it land in your body. I was not created to live in fear. I am allowed to question. I am allowed to feel. I release the need to perform for love. I choose truth. I choose healing. I choose me. And even in the ache, I know that I am free.